Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a Warriors of Love. Hoy queremos dejaros con el extracto de una conversación muy interesante que tuvimos con Lion Galban. Lion Galban es gurú de relaciones y cazador de sombras. Cazador de esas sombras interiores que no nos permiten ver la realidad tal y como es y que nos hacen proyectar al mundo todos nuestros miedos, traumas y condicionamientos. En esta conversación, lo que más nos gustó de Lion es cómo encarna el verdadero poder masculino con dirección, con propósito y aquello que los hombres necesitan trabajar en su interior. También nos habla de una manera muy interesante de lo que es la responsabilidad sexual en los hombres y cómo tenemos que estar conectados con cabeza, mente y corazón antes de tener cualquier tipo de relación sexual con una mujer. Y también de la importancia de esa conexión emocional unido a nuestro sentido de propósito y a la comunicación consciente que es necesaria en las sociedades evolucionadas. Esperemos que disfrutéis muchísimo de esta conversación.
I want to share what's really important to me right now. It's coming through very powerful. Is there's two sides to the relationship. So, or I guess multiple. We've got the entire community of all of us that interact within events and spaces. And so within that, we've got men and women, regardless of your gender, regardless of your sexual preference. We've got men and women who carry some wounds from the past still. So what happens is when we have a space where we're connecting together through unconditional love, tenderness, sensuality, rawness, power, love, sexiness, which is what all of our events are going to be about. Tantric connecting, dancing, wrestling, playing just on a high level. We're going to have some individuals who get it. It's like, I get it. I understand your energy and how to play with you and keep it in. Everybody's safe and no one's getting their boundaries overstepped. And we're going to have some people who are still wounded, who project into the space, this is unsafe, you're doing something wrong, shame on all of you, I don't feel safe, so you need to stop what you're doing, even though you're not even interacting with that person. Okay, and so that's the collective wound. That's the wound that's in the field between the masculine and the feminine, internally in the person and socially. So that needs to be addressed so that we can have safe spaces. The way we do this is we point a finger to it before the event happens and to make it part of the culture where we discuss some of the things that stop the advanced people from shining. And we support the wounded people in moving beyond the blockages that they have to meeting us at that level. Now, there's no pressure. It's just we can't have you shaming other people and projecting your wounds into the space and toxifying with gossip and projections and your feelings of unsafety, which have to do with your unprocessed wounds. So sometimes that happens within the facilitator, but most of the time it's within the participants. And so that's something we have to be aware of. The other thing is that each individual has to do their own individual work. And so it's about self-awareness and self-development. That's the key. The keys are self-awareness, self-development, and all of that has to do with access points to our authenticity. So how can I express who I am if I've got all these blockages? So the self-development work is to fix the challenges that happen from the past so that they're not blocking us from total presence to the now moment. They're not causing a contraction or repeated way of interacting with life socially that causes suffering and destruction over and over. I'm not controlled by the story because I've cleared the energies and I'm able to be present here right now with what is and fully express all of my truth into the world. Okay, and so the trick is for each one of us to raise our self-awareness and do personal development work around emotions that are blocked in the body and stories that we have about ourselves based on past challenges that were not properly processed. And we support each other in those processes by creating an emotion positive environment, unconditional love and emotion and positivity. Whatever you're feeling, even if it's a projection and it's a lie, you're feeling something and we need to support you in that feeling without taking responsibility for your feelings, And your emotional expression cannot be disruptive of the space. So there's no drama. Emotions are welcome, but if you want to do a big emotional release, it has to be at an emotional release event, or you need to separate yourself from the group, have support, and go and release, then come back with your clarity, your boundaries, and your needs. This is the same thing we do in our personal relationships, the same thing we do in the events, right? So the self-awareness piece allows us to know our old patterns. Where did they come from? What relationship wounds am I carrying that are filtering or coloring my present moment experience? We fix those so that we can have healthy interactions together, and we support each other in that. So we become shadow hunters. What are your shadows? And I want you to be self-aware of them, and all of us are aware of them, so that we can be vulnerable and open when we're triggered and ask for support. So let's say I'm jealous of you, Daniel. Okay, I'm jealous of you. So instead of me not liking you, I come to you and I say, Daniel, I'm really jealous of you. I feel like you grow facial hair better than I do, and I feel like less of a man around you, and I need a hug. Can I have a hug? And you say yes, and I give you a hug, and typically I will go more deep into my emotions because you're supporting me, and I often will have tears, and you can console me. You drop into empathy and care, and my jealousy of you just, and I can look inwards at why I'm actually jealous. It has nothing to do with you. It's my stuff. I'm triggered by you, but it's my stuff. And because you're supporting me, I can't blame you anymore. I have to look inward. And so this heals the brotherhood wounds. This heals the sister wounds, because competition is what destroys conscious communities. Also, unconscious behavior, which part of it is projections, and gossip. Those are the two things we have to address. Gossip, if you're telling me, Santiago, you're telling me something about Daniel, and it didn't happen directly to you. You just heard it from somebody else. That's gossip, and I have to be the stop point for that. And I say, did this happen directly to you, or is this something you heard from somebody else? And then that means I don't repeat it back to anybody else. I say, this is gossip. I'm going to be the stop point for this. And I don't think you should talk to anybody else about it. I think you should go to Daniel and clear this with Daniel. Now, if you did have something that happened directly related with Daniel, let's say he stole your favorite spoon, and you would come to me and say, Daniel stole my favorite spoon. This is still gossip. I need you to go to Daniel. And you say, I can say, do you need support in going to Daniel to clear this? Because I can form a council of other brothers, or I can go with you so you can talk to him. Now, one of two things can happen. You could say, yes, I need your support, or I'm scared, or whatever, and we can support you. Or you can say, I've already talked to him. And if you say that, I say, well, it seems like you haven't resolved it because you're still bringing it up to other people. And so that means you still need to do resolution work with him. Now, Daniel's not responsible for healing this with you, but he can show up in a way that supports you. And in every single interaction that we have, whether it be our intimate relationships, or it be our friendships, or with our parents, or anything, our coworkers, people have thoughts and they have feelings. The thoughts may be incorrect. I didn't steal your spoon. This was my spoon. It looks just like your spoon, but it's not your spoon. But the feelings are real. I feel sad. I feel hurt. I feel betrayed. No, the first thing I need to do is care for your feelings before I say, that's not your spoon, it's my spoon. Before I do that, let's say we're going to go on a date, and I told you Wednesday. You were waiting on Tuesday, and you're so pissed off at me. You're like, you stood me up. I'm so angry. You always do this. It's totally wrong. I can show you the text. Look, I said Wednesday. But before I do that, I need to say, oh, you're really upset. I need to ask you questions. You feel betrayed? You feel hurt? And understand your feelings. Then I need to tune into empathy. How do I feel about my friend's feelings? And I go, oh, wow, that must really suck. I'm so sorry you're feeling that. Can I put my hand on your shoulder? Can I give you a hug? And just, oh, I'm so sorry you're feeling that. And just like, your feelings really matter to me. And like really expressing that. No matter if they're wrong or right, this one component heals all relationships. We move forward in a good way. Even if I did something wrong or I didn't do something wrong, if I can show up for your feelings first, that's all you really want, is for me to show you that I care. So this is a fundamental in the way that we deal with our brothers, our sisters, our partner, our family, our coworkers, things of that nature. Now, when it comes to doing men's work, to me, what's most important is that we have emotional sensitivity. We understand our own feelings, not logically, but we palpably understand them within the viscera of our body. We can feel them within our tissue, and we have a visceral experience of energy, and we're always tuned into our feelings, and we give ourselves what we need in every moment. So I might need to leave the party, or I might need to talk, or I might need to be alone in nature, or I might need to go to bed, or whatever it is. I need to cry, I need to emote. If I can give this to myself for long enough, I become more emotionally aware. Then I can give that to others. Until I'm emotionally aware of myself, of my needs, then I can't give it to others because I don't even understand my own feelings. So instead of what we typically do, talking about our feelings or thinking about our feelings, we need to express our feelings. And how do we express our feelings? Through emoting. Not thinking or talking. If I think about what I'm feeling, like, oh, maybe this is why, and I wonder this is why, and I tell you, oh, he did this, and I feel upset. These are words. That's not emoting. That's language centered. That's talking. That's thinking. All language has to do with the ego. We want to move out of the ego and our attention to the feelings themselves. So we try to immerse our body in the felt experience of emotions and emote, which is energy in motion, expressing the feelings physically out into the world. And this is how we understand our emotional self. We express our emotional body. We feel it and we express it. We be angry. We be horny. We be loving. We physically feel it and express it. And this is how we start to understand ourselves as an emotional being. Then we can start showing up for our women. We can start showing up for our brothers when they start having feelings too. Okay. So this is the basis for it. But then the next thing is we have to show up like men. You have to live for something. You have to stand for something. So you have to come up with a code of ethics, morals, standards, codes of conduct that you choose for yourself, not society, not academia, not religion, not the status quo, not your parents, not your friends. What do you think is right and wrong for you? And you have to live in alignment with that 110%. When no one's looking, when you want to do the wrong thing, when you want to hide or you want to be shy or you want to lie, you want to avoid, you be brave and you do the right thing even if it's going to be scary. And this gives you power. It makes you understand how good you are. And this gives you permission to express more of yourself into the world. Now, when it comes to sexuality, what we need to do is bring the purity back to our sexuality. How do we bring pureness back to sexuality? Is that we express, right now, when you give love and affection, you only do it to your family or the girl you're going to fuck. So usually, we only express affection and love when we're trying to get sex. That becomes a manipulation tool. So what we need to do is platonically love men and women. Just be in love and tender and sensual and with people that we can open our heart to without trying to fuck them. After doing that for some time, you'll bring the purity back to your affection and your love, and it will open up a permission for you to begin expressing your sexuality to people. Now, there are a lot of sexual behaviors that we want to partake in that can be dangerous. And so we need to learn how can we accept these parts of ourselves and express them into the world in a way that creates a win-win situation for all people. Now, it doesn't mean we don't trigger people, but the person that we're directly interfacing with has to be in full agreement, full disclosure, and want what it is that we're doing too. We can do role play, we can do BDSM, we can do open relating, we can do whatever it is that you want to do, but it has to be in full full agreement and full alignment with the participants. And this is how we keep our sexuality in the light. Because if we do things and we're accidentally harming other people, then we seed shadows, guilt and shame into our sexuality, which is already a program running. And we need to just take that out. So we can't do anything that causes guilt and shame. All of our sexual explorations, even if the kinky and naughty ones, needs to be done with processing before, emotional presence during, and total honest self-expression during, and aftercare. So we check in, make sure everything's okay afterwards. And this is how, and we do it from authenticity, not from here. I don't just go, oh, so is it okay if I do this to you? I actually feel what I want, and I express it emotionally to you. And I'm sensitive to how I'm being received. And I'm modulating what I'm doing with you based on your energy and my energy, rather than using the mind to interact with each other. Because this is how we get into heady interactions and not embodied interactions. The other thing is, we cannot stick our dick in just anybody. We have to have sexual responsibility. We can only fuck who we love. You have to love them. Okay, you don't have to be in love, but that's the best. If you can be in love, the sex you're gonna have is gonna be phenomenal. But you have to actually just like, I really love you. I love you so much. Because that's the base that's gonna keep us feeling good about what we're doing during and after. If that's not there, you're gonna feel empty, so is she or he. And afterwards, you're gonna seed more guilt and shame into your sexuality, which blocks you from being able to fully express that part of yourself. So that needs to be the base. There has to be, and we can't listen to the animal. The animal wants to fuck. You have to listen to the heart. Okay, and so you have to learn how to feel desire and do desire play, where we play sexy, but we don't allow ourselves to do whatever the animal wants. That increases our capacity to handle high levels of animal desire and use that frequency to direct it towards whatever it is that we actually want to be manifesting in our life. We become a battery pack for an energy towards what we want versus dissipating it in an act that is actually going to create guilt and shame, or dissipating it in addiction, like smoking weed or cigarettes or drinking alcohol or scrolling or shopping or eating. We don't dissipate desire into whatever the animal wants or whatever the ego mind wants. We harness it, we feel it. I want it. And then you feel an increased capacity to handle high thresholds. And then we direct that towards learning and action in the direction of our goals. And this is how we get men who are men of action, men who are living for a set of standards that they choose, men who have sexual responsibility, men who are emotionally sensitive, who care about other people, who make decisions based on others, and also men who make shit happen. They go out and take what they want, but they do it in a way that everybody wins. And now women, what they need is they need a voice and a choice. No more letting yourself go into shutdown mode and let things happen to you that you don't want. Sorry, my limbic system, fight, flight, freeze, goes fight. I'm attack your ass. You try to attack me, boom, I'm attacking you right away. And I was in jail many times. You can overcome the limbic system response. You can reprogram your brain to have a choice. You don't have to shut down and let your brain take over. You can choose. And women are letting the shutdown and tend to befriend come in. They're letting their boundaries be overstepped. They're abandoning themselves. I didn't really want to do it, but I let you do it anyway. And now I have resentment. I blame you. And I have shadows around my sexuality. I feel unsafe. And now the space is unsafe for everybody because I'm blaming this whole group, and you and the community is fragmented. So we need to teach them how to show no, how to say fucking no, how to feel it, how to know what their no is, how to express it. But also it's just as hard for men. How do I own my yes? How do I own my sensuality, my sexiness, my desires? How do I just say, hey world, this is what I want, and feel safe and be held? Maybe it doesn't necessarily happen. Maybe the person says no, but how do I feel safe to show other people my yes and my desires? So both men and women need to learn how to step through their fears and be held gently as they express their desires. Perhaps there's a no, but at least we can support them through their emotional reactions and give both men and women an opportunity to express what they want in a way that's within integrity. and that we're caring for one another within that experience. Okay, so I think these are the fundamentals, is us learning how we can authentically express who we are in the world in a way that has tact, that doesn't disrupt the whole space, but also we realize that just because we're making other people uncomfortable doesn't mean we're wrong. It means that they have things that they need to work on, and it's up to us to support them. That we need to have spaces where the empowered can fully express their empowerment so they can come to the next level and inspire other people to level up as well. And it's all about each one of us doing self-development work, raising our self-awareness about our patterns, interjecting new behaviors into those patterns so we can start a new loop of experiences, and supporting each other back to unconditional love, sacred sister brotherhood. Have women that you love tenderly, you can snuggle with, and you really care about them, and you don't want to fuck them. Have brothers that you love and you can kiss them on the cheek and you just want to hug them and snuggle, massage, be together. You don't want to have sex. I just want to love you up. Develop that so that you can start stepping beyond the blockages to real sensuality, sexuality, and the purity of the animal experience again. And so I have a diagram that I've created that assists all of us in understanding these different aspects of the human experience and how we can monitor ourselves in each moment to make sure that we are living in alignment with what we truly want to be experiencing. So it comes with reprogramming the mind, changing our relationship to feelings, and using our body in a new way in life and the way that we interrelate with people, creating sacred spaces to support one another, and also spaces of just pure play. Okay, and that's what is really important to me right now in my life. And I'm creating sacred sister brotherhood around me. And what's going on is I'm being financially rewarded like you wouldn't fucking believe. I'm being rewarded with love and sex and money. And I live in a mansion and my friends are here all the time in abundance, and just like medicine ceremonies and parties and music and just, you know, waterfall adventures and high-end villas and just film crews and, you know, all this like amazingness, because I'm doing what it is that I'm teaching you guys right now, living in alignment with a code of ethics, unconditional love to the sacred brotherhood, really trying to love people and feel that riches, create environments where we can really come together, but also pointing a finger to the shadow side of the man, the shadow side of the woman, and the shadow side of the conscious communities. Right? And how pointing a finger to it so we can address it before it comes up in our interactions. And this is very important so that we don't start creating this beautiful thing and have it fall apart because of unconscious behavior.
Aquí acaba esta parte de la conversación, pero no quiero cerrar el vídeo sin compartir con vosotros también algo que comentó un poquito más adelante, que es la manera en la que Lion hace frente al sufrimiento y al dolor físico y el compromiso que él tiene consigo mismo y con su verdad. Me parece muy bueno este segundo extracto, así que os lo enlazo también aquí.
Oh, I remembered.
Yes.
Okay, so the pressure of what's going on in the world has created a warrior. I have learned how to transcend pain. I don't feel physical, mental, or emotional pain when I use techniques. So let's say, Santiago, you and I were dating and you broke up with me and I'm like, we're supposed to be together forever, like we were in love, and like, what are you doing? No, I'm suffering. I'm resisting. I'm suffering like a motherfucker. I'm crying every day. It's just ridiculous. Everything is gray. As soon as I go, well, I'm not really that gay, and he wasn't, you know, am I really, and he's happier now, and it's time for us to move on. I'm in acceptance, no suffering. Okay, so this is how mental suffering happens, through resistance to what is, or from focusing on the past, which is resistance to what's happening, or being afraid of what's going to happen in the future, which is resistance to a possible future. So if I'm in trust and surrender to what is, I don't suffer mentally. Emotional suffering is the same. It's all tied in with the mind. Physical suffering is a physical resistance to the stimuli. I can either do it the yin way, which is what I used to be I helped my partner give birth. This is what women do when they give birth. Soften, let go, relax into the pain. Let go. It's like when I get tattoos, because it's sustained duration of pain. I just let go. And there's no pain response. And when I did suspension ceremonies, which is hooks in the back, lifting you up, you do it the yang way. Give me more. I pulled myself, I yanked the chains, I tried to tear it out of my back. Give me more pain. Come on, bring it. That's the yang way. And what happens is you move beyond the pain there too. So there's two ways to move beyond physical pain. and there's also mental and emotional pain. So I learned that, plus the pressure of what's going on right now in the world made me say, no, you will not. And I'll tell you what, I will die for what I believe in. And I will kill you if you try to overstep my boundaries. So this is what happened to me. Is like, I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of pain. I'm not afraid of losing anything, including my son's life, my partner's life, my car, my computer, my fucking, who gives a shit? All of it can go away for what's right and what's true and what's righteous. Okay, and I'm fully committed. I will go through you can get me on fire with gasoline. I don't care. My truth is more important to me than anything. And there are many men around the world who are getting to the same thing. Maybe not as intensely, but they are starting to be passionate for a cause. They really want to stand for something, and they're stepping into no. And this is what I'm a yes to. And so this is a thing I find very important. We have to walk on eggshells. You cannot broadcast this to the world. You cannot say this on social media. But what I think is once we have men in front of us, it's very important that we discuss living for a purpose. What do you believe in and what do you live and die for? Right? It's very important. And right now I'm creating a men's network, an online men's network where we have meetups around the world and trying to figure out safe spaces for us to start talking, to start sharing our hearts, what's good, what's bad, but also create this network of men globally, and then have one meeting a year online, and one meeting a year we have the biggest men's festival ever in the history of mankind, where we have the biggest speakers, the most important men that you could ever think of, non-dualism, conscious teachers, inspirational speakers, all the influencers, everybody from around the world who was really badass. And we have workshops that are just for men around everything: tenderness, sensuality, sexuality, the animal, martial arts, self-penetration, honesty, authenticity, everything that we can possibly, edgy shit. And we support one another in this on an epic location, 5 days, a festival style, medicine ceremonies, but the biggest that men have ever experienced. And we do that annually. We bring all the men together. And throughout the year, we keep meeting in these meetup groups online once a month, or there's a satsang or whatever with me and somebody else. But once a year there's an online meetup. We have a big festival, the men's festival, and then once a year there's an actual physical meetup at a paradise location where we all just crush it together. And we use the ticket sales to pay for us to fly there and have a decadent experience. It's not necessarily about getting. It's about making a really beautiful, powerful experience, selling tickets to rent the venue and make it decadent for those who are curating it. And we have men from around the world coming to experience something they never experienced before. So this is the direction that I'm going in with my life now. And I'd love to hear what you guys what's going on, what are you brewing?
Espero que os haya aportado el vídeo. Recordaros que, si os ha gustado, nos viene muy bien que le deis a like. Si os gusta nuestro contenido, que os suscribáis. Estamos empezando a traer todo este tipo de personas con sus visiones, con sus mensajes, con su forma de ver y experimentar la vida, para que os puedan aportar también a vosotros. Ya sabéis que si sois bilingües y no tenéis problema con el inglés, podéis escuchar todos nuestros episodios en podcast también. Y aquí en YouTube ponemos los extractos más importantes subtitulados, y nos podéis seguir también en Instagram para estar al tanto de todas las cosas que vamos trayendo. Así que no olvidéis pasaros por ahí, tenéis los enlaces en la descripción, con los enlaces también a la web de Lion, si queréis aprender un poquito más de él. Muchas gracias y nos vemos en el próximo capítulo.